Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to today's edition of Prime on My Media Prime. This evening, we're going to be looking at what opportunities actually lie in the agricultural sector in Cameroon. We're going to be looking at an example set before us by AFROBRAINS Cameroon, giving us opportunities on what it takes and how to excel, especially when it comes to transforming our products, agricultural products for consumption in Cameroon and in Africa, especially quality food. We are going to be looking at what potentials actually lies behind our houses, in our farms, and at different levels. Is it possible to change the economy of Africa using the soil? I'm talking about agriculture. AFROBRAINS Cameroon think that it is very, very possible. They are providing opportunities for many Africans and many Cameroonians to make a difference. So this evening we thought that we should discuss with them to tell us what opportunities exist in this domain. That is why the CEO of AFROBRAINS Cameroon is in the house with us, all the way from China, far from here, to tell us what it takes to change the dynamics. We are in the company of Mr. Tata Fon, who is the CEO of AFROBRAINS Cameroon. Good evening, sir, and welcome.
Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be here, Leonard. I am always very honored to be invited to your station and to talk and share with you and, of course, Cameroonians and, of course, Africans. Those opportunities, continue to reiterate those opportunities that lie in agriculture, that lie in food transformation, food distribution, and all that which agriculture can bring to Cameroon and the world at large.
Okay. We hope that we're going to be joined by other panelists to also add their voice and explain better what it takes to transform in Africa and how beneficial it is going to be for Africans and Cameroonians to consume what is produced in Cameroon. But for now, we're going to start with you, the CEO of AFROBRAINS Cameroon, Dr. Tata Fon. I want you to paint a picture of the potential that is behind agriculture in Cameroon.
Yeah, thank you, Leo. You see, one thing that Africans and Cameroonians particularly must understand is that 60% of the world's arable land is situated or located in the African continent. Mm-hmm. And as if that is not enough, about 60% of Africa's population is actually made up of youths who are less than 25 years old. Mm-hmm. What that means is that we have a lot of manpower. We have the youths who are out there who have that energy which we actually need in order to transform or in order to cultivate the available fertile. This is not just desert land, but this is arable land, which means that we have available soil to cultivate and create value. So AFROBRAINS, what AFROBRAINS does is that it actually creates the possibilities for the youths to actually see into this these values that are available in Cameroon, particularly. I must emphasize Cameroon, because Cameroon, you see, is what we refer to as Africa in miniature. What that means is that we can cultivate almost everything that could be cultivated anywhere in Africa within the Cameroonian space. So in agriculture, precisely in Cameroon, we have a very diverse possibilities. We have very diverse opportunities. We have very diverse crops which can be cultivated and which can also be transformed to other forms. So these and a lot more are some of the opportunities that we have in the agricultural sector in Cameroon, and as we're going to be discussing the repeater factors that emanate as a result of the fact that we can do that. Yeah.
The pointers given to the possibility for economies to be driven by agriculture from what you are doing with AFROBRAINS, but can our economies in Africa actually thrive from agriculture?
Yes, of course. The economies in Africa can do well with agriculture, because you see, when we talk about food cultivation or agriculture, one of the things that has made Africa remain where it is the fact that we perceive agriculture to be limited to food cultivation. But what Afrobrains is doing, and probably other institutions or other initiatives in Africa are doing, is that we are looking at introducing the next phase of agriculture, which has to do with transforming the natural agricultural products that we cultivate into finished products. So we are linking the shops to the farms. So yes, agriculture is that missing link, or transformation is that missing link. All we need to do is we have to mobilize the youths, we have to sensitize the youths, we have to provide the youths with the necessary possibilities to be able to realize that. When I talk about possibilities, I'm not talking about money, but I'm talking about how to. Because you see, we have an educational system that does not teach students how to, but teach students what is supposed to be required. So it tells the students that this is supposed to be required, but never tells the students that how is that supposed to be used in order to produce what the value. So Afrobrains and other initiatives also come here to give students that possibility, or Africans that possibility, to understand how to live from farm products into the supermarkets. And you see, when someone goes to do food cultivation, it's just like printing money, because when you put one seed into the soil and that seed produces many more seeds, or many more of itself, what that means is that you have just multiplied a unit for several units, and you have multiplied one value for several. So what it means is you've just printed money. So agriculture is the way forward. Instead of us printing pieces of papers which we can describe somehow as money, why don't we print something that's more valuable, which is food? So agriculture, I believe very strongly, and of course a lot of people out there would definitely buy that idea, would be that when we encourage the cultivation of the crops that we can transform into other forms for our cultural diet, for our cultural meals, these meals are the way forward to many African challenges.
Yes, many persons actually think will not understand the importance of agriculture, how imperative or how very, very lucrative agriculture could be to their lifestyle. But when you look at most of the shops in Europe, most of what we find actually displayed are products from Africa.
Yes.
And Europeans are reaping millions or billions out of what is produced in Africa. Meanwhile, the African farmer remains essentially very poor.
Yes, the reason why the African farmer remains poor is that we haven't been able to successfully create the possibility for the African farmer to add value to the raw materials. When we cultivate and we look at agriculture as ending at the level of cultivation, and then we sell the raw materials out there, they create more value. Now, there are quite a couple of initiatives around Africa that are into transformation. But you see that most of these machines that are used within Africa, in my experience in the case of Cameroon, most of the machines are not food standard. That is why they wouldn't even allow us to do anything with the food before it's been exported. For example, adding a little value to it, they wouldn't let that happen. Why? Because the machines that we still have are not food value. So it is one of those things that Afrobrains has identified and has asked itself, like, why is that so? So we got to find out and realize that because the machines are substandard machines, because the materials that we use in the manufacture of our food transformation machines in Africa, or in Cameroon particularly, are not food standard machines, because we manufacture them out of iron. Iron is not a food standard material. We manufacture them out of aluminium. There are several of the food, of the machines that we use in the transformation of our foods around here in Cameroon, those are not food standard machines. What I mean by not food standard machines is that they should not be used to process food. They should not be used to do anything that has to do with food. If the worst case scenario occurs, probably it should be for cattle or for other stuff, which is not even advisable. But we use them to transform our food, we use them to mill our corn, we use them to grind our spices and all those things. But because we are not informed that those machines are not the best machines, the material that is suitable for the manufacture of food standard machine is stainless steel 304. Stainless steel is of different categories, but the material that is required for the manufacture of a food standard machine is stainless steel 304. These are some of the things, these and more, of course, are some of the things that Afrobrains says now. We cannot continue to allow this value to escape us and create employment abroad. So let us bring this little knowledge back home and see how we can begin together to team with others to manufacture some of these machines, to teach young people how to manufacture some of these machines, and also encourage farmers so that we can produce goods that can stay in not just our own shops, but create value that can attract foreign currency.
Now, let's talk a little bit about Afrobrains. I remember that some months ago we discussed about Afrobrains. Yes, Afrobrains, what is the objective of Afrobrains? What is it all about?
Thank you very much. Afrobrains is, of course, it's a private initiative that aims at collaborating, or better still, partnering with local population, in this case, women's group, youths in agriculture, encouraging them. When I talk of collaboration, our collaboration takes the shape of providing them with the basics that they need for cultivation, like natural seeds, like other natural inputs into the farms, and making sure that the cultivation goes through well, and during the harvest or after the harvest, we get all the products, and then we transform them at our factory, which is situated in Yaoundé at Bankomo. We transform them, and of course we package them neatly, and then we put them into the market. So it's a kind of a system where farmers can plug into this system and create value out of the agricultural products. Young people who are interested in probably food transformation, or young people who are interested in food distribution, young people who are interested in marketing, young people who are interested in sales, can plug themselves into this system, bring in the value that they have, and then we can create some wealth out of it together. So basically, that is what Afrobrains is.
It's big grammar. Can you break it down? Afrobrains is you bring farmers together.
Exactly.
They cultivate the farm. Yeah. You buy the produce. Can you bring it down a bit? You were talking to.
Yeah. What we generally do, let me try to put it a little bit much straightforward, is that when we go to an environment, we see that okay, this environment, most people here, most of the farmers here cultivate, say, cassavas. Okay, we will not want to deal with one person because we buy in large quantities. So we would like the farmers in that locality to come together. So we would encourage them. How do we encourage them? By providing them with seeds in subsequent cultivation. So we bring them together. We say, okay, please come together so that your harvest could be reasonable, so we can buy in bulk. So when we bring these women together, they now form a women, what we call cooperative. And then now we can be able to buy from them as a group. We equally do that with young people in cultivation, or maybe, why not, the rearing of chickens. So, because we also transform those ones. So, when we put these groups together, we are able to get a reasonable quantity of inputs that we can be able to transform. And when we buy these raw materials, like I indicated earlier, we have our factory which is situated at Bankomo in Yaoundé. We send these raw materials to the factory, which is now transformed. We have from cassava, as I stated, we have watafufu flour, we have cassava flour from Kum. We have a wide variety depending on the raw materials that we use. So after that, we still send that to the supermarkets. We have our shops all across Cameroon.
You send them to your shops out there. Afrobrains, it's a Cameroonian company.
That's right. Afrobrains is a 100% Cameroonian-owned company, and it is meant for Cameroonians. And all that Afrobrains does is in order to enhance the life of the youths of Cameroon and to create opportunity for the rural farmers in Cameroon. If we had our way, we would be able to make it possible for all the rural farmers who cultivate some of those crops that are highly perishable, for example, tomatoes and pepper. Remember that we already listening to news that another wave of coronavirus is coming up. Who knows? The experience of a couple of years back should have taught us that there is going to be a possibility that farmers who cultivate tomatoes may fall into the situation where they wouldn't know where to keep their products. So Afrobrains is one of those solutions that is ready. As a matter of fact, Afrobrains was actually motivated by some of these things, because a couple of years back, I remember when I was still in China, I noticed that several farmers had issues with where to sell their raw materials, especially the perishables like tomatoes. So they virtually, because most of the farmers design their business formula by exporting the tomatoes out of Cameroon to Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, and all that. Unfortunately for them, the lockdown affected them so much. So if we had an institution or an initiative like that of Afrobrains, which we have today, all those tomatoes would have been given more value by transformation.
Okay. This program essentially this evening is for you, the farmer, wherever you are. What is the key objective of Afrobrains? Is it quality food or to help farmers?
Afrobrains is concerned about the health and strength of Cameroonians. Food, as we see it today, has not been like that all along. Food has been evolving, just as any other aspect of life has been evolving. When some of us were growing, we didn't know about GM foods, or better still, genetically modified foods. We didn't know that scientists needed to take seeds into a laboratory and make these seeds produce differently. So we have come to learn about that. We've also learned that some of these seeds, some of these products are harmful to human body. So it is in our interest as Africans and as Cameroonians to protect the natural environment that we have. One of Afrobrains' objectives or goals is to make sure that Cameroonians or Africans as a whole should protect the natural environment, or better still, the natural seeds that we have. Because science has proven that most, if not all, of the genetically modified seeds, though I must state here that probably in some crops, it could have some positives much more than the negatives, but in most of the crops, the negatives are much more. So it's in our own interest to protect that natural environment which we have, so that in future we would be able to say, yes, we did the right thing. Because the truth is, when we all depend on genetically modified seeds have one very serious disadvantage, and this is it. When you buy F1 seeds, most of the packets that come are written on it F1 seeds. That's first generation seeds. What that means is that when you plant those seeds and you harvest, you cannot use the seeds, the harvest, to do another form of cultivation. You wouldn't have good harvest. So it is in our own interest as Africans and as Cameroonians particularly to protect the natural seeds that we have. Afrobrains is doing a lot in this line. We're trying as much as possible to see how we can create an environment where we create a market for natural seeds. Because when we create a market for natural seeds and natural products, farmers will see the need to protect and preserve the natural seeds that we have. So that's part of what we do.
Dr. Tata, I want us to be very simplistic. Farmers are watching us across the nation. If you are a farmer who is watching us, maybe you're producing mangoes, you're producing cassava, you're producing beans from Ndu or Nkambe, you're producing tomatoes from Wotutu, somewhere around Limbe, and maybe all these things. How can AfroBrains help them?
Yes, AfroBrains, of course, on our website, www.afrobrains.com. If you go to our website, you would notice there's a page where farmers can freely apply online. You just go to our online page, and then you indicate the products that you have, you indicate where you are, and then the form will come directly to us. When you submit, the form will come to us. So we would already have enough information as to the request you want. You are found somewhere in Cameroon, you are cultivating this product, maybe you are cultivating 3 or 4 products.
You're cultivating beans, or
beans,
carrots,
exactly.
Yes.
So we do that, and then we also, there's a space where you can state about what quantity are you cultivating. If are you a group or you are an individual, you select it there. So when you furnish us with all this information, we'll get back to you and we'll tell you, okay, you can supply us. And we can actually make arrangements as to how to pick up the raw materials from your farm. And then we would be able to get it. So we'll find out from you the nature of the place where you are. Do you need to harvest them and keep them before we come and pick it up? Or we need to come there before you do that? So we can do that arrangement together. And then we pick up the products and then we come. Because our goal is to avoid, you see, AfroBrains has 3 major things that it's working for. It's working for post-harvest loss avoidance, it's working for hunger, and it's creating jobs. So these 3 things are centered in whatever we do. So we look for the least possible, the least available opportunity to create jobs for Cameroonians. If you're going to harvest before we come, look for some youths, let them harvest them. If we're going to transform it, we're going to look for young people who are hanging around to get this thing transformed. So in everything we do, we have these 3 things. We want to look at how to reduce the hunger, because the UN says that Cameroon is made up of hungry people. So we don't want to hear that. We don't want to read that. So we want to try to make an effort to avoid that. So we also know that post-harvest loss is a problem. And we have already heard about the coronavirus strain that is coming. And it's a serious problem. So if we wait until we have lockdowns and we don't know where to buy food, and we are obliged to shut down the markets, because what if a lot of people get to start dying? What are we going to do? We would have no choice. So we would have to lock down probably the markets for people not to come together. So let's begin to be proactive. Let's begin to look at how alternatively. And one of the things that AfroBrains does excellently is that the products from AfroBrains can last at home for quite a long time.
Yeah, we are going to be discussing about storage and
okay.
Yes,
okay.
But AfroBrains, actually, many farmers may be watching us and are interested. I'm sure many of them have products and would want to sell. Some are already asking how to get to you. It means, are you working more with individuals, or you are bringing farmers together to work as they call it scheme, farmer scheme?
Yeah, like small cooperatives, small groups. That is what we've been doing, and our parents have been doing, and that is what we encourage. So usually when people individually, the harvest may not be as much as if they bring them together. So we go, for example, if you're driving from Limbe and you're coming to Douala, you realize you meet a lot of women selling yams all along the road. What if all those women came and formed one group, and then they supply all that yam to AfroBrains? We would produce yam flour. So these are the things we encourage. Instead of individual women to sit at the roadside all day looking for one person to buy one yam and they fight over it, why not form a group and decide on a price and see how this thing can be forwarded over for transformation? Those are the things we form. You see, unity is power. And the power in the unity in this case is that they can come together and they can sell faster than if they sell they remain independent. So we don't do this only with respect to yams. We do this with respect to other crops. We have cassavas. We buy cassavas. We buy soybeans. We buy cocky beans or cowpea, some might call it, and so on, and lots. Whatever we have in good quantity, because you see, we want to invest in a product that we can have in large quantities. So we also want to invest in a product that we know that a lot of Cameroonians will consume, or it's part of those our natural or traditional meals. So we would like to invest in that. It's an investment. It's not like something that we're going to buy and not know what to do with it, because people will eventually eat it.
Okay. Please, if you're watching us and you have a question for Dr. Tata, send the question or ask it to him, especially those of you who are farmers. Good evening, Mr. Leo. To me, agricultural development is another form of modern technology that will be growing even more than the technology of ICT and the rest, because you won't say that even after, let's say, 50 years, corn fufu or achu or eru will be obsolete. I don't see what will make it obsolete. Just to say that agriculture should be our primary technology, in quotes, just like Europe, China hold onto ICT. Frank is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love your program. I'm Ketu Roland from Bamenda, an agricultural technician. How can we get the Afro products here in Cameroon, and their WhatsApp contact?
Yeah, Bralio, the first thing I want to probably address is the first person who spoke about the possibility of our traditional or our cultural dishes becoming very obsolete. Of course, there is that possibility. There is that possibility because, you see, as society continues to develop, people begin to want to eat things that are much easier to prepare, to cook. People don't have time to go and pound cocoyams, harvest cocoyams, peel cocoyams, pound cocoyams, peel the bananas, and so on, and do all that. The children that we have will not want to do that. So it is in our own interest to develop ways in which we can transform some of these cultural dishes into forms that are easier for our children to prepare. So when we do that, what that means is that we are transferring our culture into the future. But if we allow our meals like achu, for example, like even Kwakoko Bible, like Ekwang, and all those things, if we allow them in the form that we have been consuming them, which means you have to go to the farm, you have to peel cocoyams, you have to grate it, you have to tie it in leaves and all that. If we don't develop modern ways in which these meals can be made much easier, what will happen is that our children will get bored, and our children will start accepting easier cultures from other jurisdictions, and that's how we're going to lose our culture. So it's in our own interest, as Afrobrains is doing, to develop ways. For example, we have watafufu flour. What that means is that you just need to take the flour and then you soak it in water, and then of course you prepare it like you do normally. The same thing with
instead of going to get the fresh watafufu and then you have to
exactly. And the fresh watafufu, you see, a lot of people, there are some people who don't eat watafufu. Why? Because they say it gives it gives stomach issue. And the reason, the issue of the stomach problem is not that there's anything wrong. It's the exposure. Yeah. Yes, it's not the fermentation.
Okay.
Non-fermented cassava is more harmful than fermented cassava.
Okay.
When you ferment cassava, it becomes healthier than non-fermented cassava. So the kum, which is non-fermented cassava, is less healthier than watafufu itself. But the problem is the form in which we market it, because they put it into the open, flies from everywhere in the world land on it before it is being sold. So that is where the problem of the stomach problem might come from.
So you've transformed, there's a possibility for you to transform it?
Exactly. So we've been able to reduce all these steps, and now we have it in the form of a flour. So you just take the flour, you soak in water, and then, not for long though, you just soak it so that it can have a uniform texture when you spin it around. So, and then you can cook it.
You have your watafufu?
Yeah, watafufu flour.
What about achu?
Of course, we have achu flour. What is achu flour? Achu flour is cocoyams and bananas. You can still use our cocoyam flour together with our banana flour. You would have your achu as plain as the achu that you can pound fresh.
Yeah, but the problem now is the quality. How do you ensure quality so that what is being eaten from the flour form? We are talking about transformation here, and also value added financially.
Yes, you see, when you look at our agricultural landscape in Cameroon, you would notice that there are certain crops that we have really in abundance in certain places, and we have the huge potential to produce them in much larger quantities. So it is in our interest to scale the production of some of these crops that we consume on a daily basis. It is ironical sometimes when I see that we encourage the cultivation of crops that we really don't consume, crops that we rather export. So something like the cocoyams that we use, achu cocoyams I should call it, something like that. Those are things that we should scale its production. Because when we buy, say, 2 tons of achu cocoyams, all we have to do is we peel them, we prepare them, and then we turn them into flour. So, and of course, we also get the bananas, the achu bananas, and then we prepare them similarly, and then we mix them in a ratio that is well calculated. Why? Because we already know that we need a certain specific texture. And of course, like I indicated from the start of the program, that the machines that produce food in Cameroon generally, most of them are not food standard. But at Afrobrains, we already know this. So we use the food standard machine. So when it comes to quality, when it comes to food safety, when it comes to all those things, we have already taken that into consideration. Our interest is to make sure that we produce a standard. We are able to break that barrier where products that we produce here in Cameroon cannot be sold in Europe or America officially. I must emphasize on this because some people think that simply because somebody comes to Cameroon and buy your products and put into his traveling bag and take to America, it means you are doing international trade. No, that's not international trade.
Okay. Please, we need to be affiliated after 5 years of suffering. We are a CBO, that's a common, I don't know what is common, CBO is a common business organization group called Unity Sisters in Bafood. We are experts in cassava production. I'm sure they would need to get to you.
They should also, ginger is, Bafood is one of the places where the highest amount of ginger from Central and West Africa comes from.
Okay.
So they should be able to do that.
The person who is writing from Bafood, take note of that. He also expects you guys to cultivate a lot of ginger.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love your programs on Prime all the time. I want to ask if someone can buy in large and sell to them. Can someone buy and sell to you people?
We're doing a business. When we're doing a business, if you can have access to raw materials at excellent prices, why not? Why not? We want to make sure we absorb the raw materials from our farmers so that our farmers to have the incentive to cultivate in the next season. So wherever your raw materials are coming from, our concern is just that it should be at a price that when we transform, we should be able to have a price in the market that will not destroy, will not segregate the population. Will not start making people feel that, oh, this product is only for the rich or this product is only for the poor. Afrobrains products are for everybody. It doesn't matter whether you are the same farmer, and this is very important, I must state it, because we have farmers who produce, who farm cocoa in Cameroon, but they have never been able to enjoy chocolate as they would have wanted to. So we don't want to repeat that kind of a formula. At Afrobrains, we make sure that the raw materials come from the farmers, the finished product should be consumable by the farmers. The farmers should be able to afford the finished products.
Okay. Hello, good evening to you in the studio. Please ask Dr. Tata to give me his number. We have a lot that is of interest to his company. Your contact, please. Ella, if it's possible, can we have doctor's number? Just give the number, doctor.
The number is 675103253.
Okay. Again?
675103253.
Ella, I hope you have the number. You just put it on the screen, the Dr. Tata's number. And let's have it because I know there are many farmers yes, can you just Ella, just yeah. There are many farmers who may be in Do watching us in Cambe, watching us in Bamoso, in Ekondo Titi. They may be watching us and have these products that Dr. Tata is talking about and may not know how to get to him. Let's just have his number so that you can get to him directly and see how you would supply what he wants from you. Hello, good evening to you in the studio. Please ask Dr. Tata to give me his number. Okay, his number is there for you all to follow. Good evening. Please, I need the copy. Okay, Please, the number is going to be there on the studio so that you guys can all follow. But Doctor, we're talking about job creation, quality of the product. The key issue raised by many persons when it comes to you people taking what our farmers are producing is exploitation. How do you make sure that in the process of this business, they're not exploited?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and that is one of the things that I always discuss with the farmers each time I begin to form a new group of farmers. You see, like I indicated, what we want to do, or what we want to make sure we do, is that the farmers should be able to consume the products that are in the market. What the farmers benefit from, the sales, should be able to afford. Take, for example, a farmer who is cultivating cassavas should be able to afford our watafufu flour. So we do not create a situation where the farmers cannot afford the products. When farmers complain about exploitation, it's simply because they think that the people who transform these products, the profit that they get from it is far beyond what they could actually be able to perceive. So it is in our own interest to work as a team. I've told most of the farmers that it's in our own interest to work as a team to see that we win the market. Take, for example, we have tomato sauce. We produce tomato sauce, we produce pepper sauce. Now, we have imported tomato sauces and pepper sauces in the market all over the whole place. So it is in our own interest to see that we team up with the farmers to bring down our prices so that people will not have the appetite to buy foreign tomato sauce. Our tomato sauce is natural, but it will take some time for the population of Cameroon and Africa to understand the difference between natural tomato sauce and the tomato sauce that is coming from genetically modified plants. It's not even just genetically modified plants. That's the worst thing of it. Most of the tin tomatoes that we have in the market, without calling any of them, they're all from chemicals. It's loaded. It's just something else. It's just something else. It's not even something that's supposed to be eaten. It's not even something that people are supposed to consume. It's unfortunate people are consuming it without really knowing, but it is not eatable. It's not edible. It's not something we can even conceive that people will be eating. But what? Once you want to tell people, I'm saying this now, it's not because it is now that I'm knowing. I had known this all along. But the reason I'm saying this now is because there's an alternative. Whenever you want to tell people that something is not right, you should be ready to present to them an alternative. So we have tomato sauce. The price is more affordable than the tin tomatoes we have in the market. We have made it accessible. We have our shops across Cameroon: Bamenda, Boya, Limbe, Bafoussam, Yaoundé, Douala. We are almost everywhere. And people who want to do business with us, we give them the possibility to also set up stores and sell in their community. You are not just selling people food. You are not just making a little income for your family, but what you're doing is that you are healing people. You are healing people from the poison that they've been eating. So be proud of becoming a part of Afrobrains. Be proud of being a shareholder in Afrobrains. Be proud of investing your money in Afrobrains, because it's not just about money, it's about healing Cameroon and it's about healing the world.
You talked a lot about it's genetically modified food, pepper sauce, and tomato sauce, and a host of others. That is what is imported and what Afrobrains is providing to the Cameroonian and African population. What is the core difference?
Yeah, you see, laboratory concentrates. Most of the tin tomatoes we eat are prepared from laboratory concentrates. So they prepare those laboratory concentrates in labs, and then they send the concentrates to Africa and create small factories where they're going to mix them up with a little GM tomatoes around, and then they tin them up, and then we eating them, and we are consuming. So it's bad. It's really bad. It's bad. A lot of them are around in the system there, and it's really bad. But more about Afrobrains products. We buy natural tomatoes from our farmers. We take these tomatoes and we transform them at our factories with food standard machines, and we package them and we distribute them to our farmers. Our tomatoes can last 2 years, shelf life. We prefer our customers keep these tomatoes in the refrigerator. It can stay out, but we prefer to keep them in the refrigerator in order to make sure that it optimally. For example, something like pepper, you can open it and you can close it. You can eat it, and our pepper is really, really very, very good. Very, very nice. In fact, I think from our own observation, it's people really love it. Cameroonians are embracing it. I remember when we started producing the pepper, we went to a lot of restaurants in Yaoundé. They just bought everything, and we were wondering what was special about the pepper. And later we realized that it was because of the natural nature of it. You see, people know good things. Cameroonians know good things. When they taste it, the moment Cameroonians taste good things, they know it. It's just like a good pair of shoes. Cameroonians know excellent pair of shoes. When a Cameroonian sees you at 1 meter away wearing an excellent pair of shoes, he can tell you the price of that shoes. That is how they know food.
They tell you that you are a connoisseur.
Exactly, exactly. So that is how they also know food. So when they tasted the pepper, they know this is good pepper. And they can tell you everything about it. And that is the beauty about eating natural. That is the beauty about
when you eat natural and you eat artificial, how does that impact on your life?
Of course, medically, I'm not a medical expert, but from my own personal, from readings, medically, we have the products of digestion of some of these genetically modified foods are not the way that we expect, are not the ones that are supposed to be. Because you see, when you genetically modify food, what that means is that you have added into that seed
the natural process
elements that are not supposed to be there, elements that are not supposed to be there, substances that are not supposed to be there. When your stomach takes those things in and your stomach try to digest it and give you the things it's supposed to give you, there are compounds that are formed as a result of those strange elements that were put in that seed. Those compounds are cancerous. That's why we talk about carcinogenic. Well, that's why we talk about harmfulness. So that is what science says, and that is what we've been able to read, and that is what we know about. And we know that when we were growing up, there are certain diseases, there are certain health conditions that were not very rampant, that were not very common, but they are becoming very, very common, and we are questioning why this is happening. Obviously, it's coming from something that we eat every day. Well, for the benefit of that, let's begin by eating healthy. Let's begin by eating natural. Let's begin by producing what we consume and consume what we produce. I think when we start from there, it will be a great place to start.
Okay, it will be a great place to start. Let me take a few of the questions coming in. Mr. Liu, can you ask Doctor if it is possible for Afrobrains to transform palm oil? Emmanuel is writing from Douala.
Yeah, well, palm oil, we can build the machines and we can work with any group of persons that want to transform palm oil. What we do produce at the moment, we do produce oil from granules, and in a couple of weeks from now, we're going to be producing oil from sunflower seeds. Now, we have observed that, we have studied that sunflower seeds produce very healthy oil, much healthier than the oil from granules. So we've planted about 10 hectares of sunflower seeds. And we also encourage farmers that they should begin to plant sunflower seeds. You see, one of the things that has happened to Africa besides colonization is the fact that we have been made to think that certain crops cannot do well in our jurisdictions, in our nations. But sunflower seeds is one of those crops that can actually do very well in Cameroon. So there is no reason why we shouldn't have sunflower seeds all over the whole place when we know that sunflower seeds will produce a lot of oil. 1 kilogram of sunflower seeds will produce about 1 liter of oil. So it actually has more oil than granules. If you take 1 kilogram of granules, it's not going to produce that quantity of oil. So some of these things, educate us. Why not invest in sunflower seeds instead of planting granules? So let's begin to invest. And the beautiful thing about sunflower seeds is that it's a 3 months based plant. So you can do like 3 times per year. So it has economic value. So I'm encouraging all the farmers out there, if you have space, why not? get into sunflower seeds. If you don't have the seeds, we can work together to see how we can get you some of these seeds, because we know that some of the farmers are interested in doing some of these farming, some of these cultivation, but because they don't have the seeds available, so we make provision for that.
Hello, good evening to you in the studio. Please, doctor, tell me where I can get your product.
Yes, Afrobrains Cameroon is found in Bamenda. We have at the Dubai Center at Commercial Avenue, Bamenda. We also have another store at Aziri, Ochurch. We have in Bafoussam. We have in Douala. We have Makepe, Misoke. We have also in Yaoundé. We have about 3 stores in Yaoundé. So our numbers for all the various branches, they can always get them that on our Facebook page, Afrobrains Cameroon. You have all our numbers for the various branches. We are also found in Betois, we are found in Limbe, we are found in Kumba, we are found in Boya. So you can get us all over Cameroon. I think we're still trying to progress to the north, because we buy a lot of raw materials, like I indicated, granules. We know we have a lot of granules from the north. So we do produce our oil from the granules that we get from the north.
Okay, so if you want the numbers, get to the Facebook page, Afrobrains Cameroon.
Yes, please. Just go to our Facebook page, Afrobrains Cameroon on Facebook. You're going to have all our numbers there. On our wall, you find our numbers for all the branches. You can call the branch that is closer to you, and you can buy the products. You can order the products. We can deliver to you, and so on. If you want to be a distributor in your area, you want to distribute the Afrobrains product, we have a wide variety of products. If you want to be a distributor of Afrobrains product, please feel free to call the numbers, or you can call the Yaoundé line. The Yaoundé line happens to be my line. So if you call that line, we will have a conversation as to how we can get you started on being a distributor of Afrobrains products.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Just want to know where I can get Afrobrains products in Bamenda, Venatius, Fubanka, writing from Bamenda. You talked about
Dubai Center, Commercial Avenue.
So
Dubai, you can get Afrobrains products from Dubai Center, Commercial Avenue. The number, as I said, is on our Facebook page. You can get it. So just go to Dubai Center, Commercial Avenue. As you enter into the Dubai Center, just go down the second level down on your right. You get the Afrobrains shop on your right there. So there's also a board there that you can comfortably see there written Afrobrains.
Okay. For those who are in Bamenda, good evening. Ask him if they sell the processing machines in Cameroon. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we do, like I indicated before. One of the ways to sustain our agricultural sector in Cameroon is to gain the knowledge about the ability to produce some of these machines. We're not going to be buying from China forever. So one of the things that Afrobrains is doing is the building of transformation machine and cultivation machines. So for now, we are still setting up our fabrication lab, but because of the demand that we have from customers, we are forced to go into production of some of these machines. Last time I passed over this station, a lot of people got interested in some of the things. I made mention of the fact that we can build some of these machines. So a lot of people were calling us and saying that, oh, they need machines for this, they need machines for this. So we're forced to employ some fabrication persons to train them and start building the machines. And one of the things that I'll tell people is that don't just buy machines on the roadside or at the roadside and think that you are producing food. You are poisoning people. There are materials, standard materials for the production of food standard machines. So we have started building the machines. We work with fabricating technicians around who are already available. So we work with them. We do design the machines. We do guide them on how to produce some of these machines. Some of them already have the skills. It's not as though this is rocket science. Some of them already have the skills, but there are certain things we just add to what they already know so that we can be efficient. That is how a society is built.
Good evening, Dr. Tata. I want to know from you whether if a farmer has 1 hectare of land fully planted with cassava, will you like to come and buy from that person? I ask this because many people are not producing cassava here. I'm writing from Bagante.
Yeah, we have a store at Bafoussam. From Bagante. If people are not producing cassavas there, they are definitely producing something else. So you see, and those are some of the things. In some of our stores, the dominant products, we see the various regions automatically begin to choose the products that they prefer more. So yes, we can get, if you plant anywhere you can plant, as long as we can be able to reach you and your quantity is reasonable, we will get there. So if the quantity, the point is at the quantity, because we cannot leave all the way from Yaoundé to come to a place where we're just going to get probably maybe 500 kilograms or 1 ton of cassava. So we want to see that there's a significant quantities that can justify the driving all the way. So yes, we can be able to get to you, collaborate with you, and buy the raw materials from you. Please talk with us. Talk with us before you get into cultivation, because you see sometimes people can cultivate certain species of products or certain grades of products that are not the best. So, but we test them. Sometimes we advise the farmers. Sometimes we tell them that, look, you see, this thing is GM. This thing is not really healthy. So we guide them.
Okay, good evening, sir. I would like to be a potential investor. How possible is this? Gerard writing.
Yes, to be an investor at Afrobrains, we have about 4 different forms of investment. You can buy shares. We have a few that are still left. We have a few shares that are still left. You can buy shares. You can invest a fixed amount for a duration of period to gain returns. We also have the possibility for you to invest. If, for example, most of our brothers and sisters who are abroad, maybe they want to get some job for their relatives back home, or they want to invest something back home. You just need to get in touch with us. We'll set up a store. We'll set up a store for you, and then we'll stock the store. If you have a relative to manage the store, fine. If not, Afrobrains will train the person to manage the store, and you can monitor those daily sales from abroad. You don't have to be in Cameroon in order to know whether the sales are going on. Once you are abroad, we have a database which is linked up to the local database. So daily you can see the daily sales of the shop, and you can make profit. You make profit. How do you make profit? The difference between the factory prices and the market prices. So your profit is found there. So that is one way that people from abroad can actually invest. One shop, for example, in Douala can be about 2 million. In another place where the rent is much lower. Now within that, we set up the shop. We have our normal colors, white wall, green shelves, which we set up for you, and we stock the shop for the amount that is available, and then you can make your profit. It's that straightforward.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. We're coming right back to continue our discussions with Dr. Tata Fon, who is the CEO, Afrobrains Cameroon.
There's nothing more magical than spending good times with the family during the holidays. So, join Canal Plus and let's spend the holidays together. To welcome you, the decoder is 5,000 francs and installation offered with many channels.
Ça sera la musique ou rien.
C'est tout.
What to love?
Nous avons un duel Afrique de l'Ouest, Afrique centrale.
Dance and ignite your evenings. Share strong moments full of twists and turns. And even make the younger ones dream.
Passage en vitesse, Mac Noël. Tout est prêt pour qu'on profite de I see you watching my stories. I see you getting my lifestyle. I see you watching my movements. This bad bitch bad every day. I know they look at your face. Bad man bad every day. Get on your knees and pray. Do you regain your faith?
Welcome back. You're watching Prime on my Media Prime, and our guest for tonight's edition is Dr. Tata Fon, who is the CEO of AFROBRAINS Cameroon, who is telling us what opportunities are there for young Cameroonians and Africans in the domain of agriculture, especially when it comes to transforming our agricultural products from the primary to the tertiary, ready for consumption. There is no need to be looking to Europe or Asia to get what we are producing in Africa, transform them and bring them back. We should be able to be confident about what is produced back here, because the quality is not tempered with. Yes, but is this also an opportunity to tell Cameroonians that, hey, we can also produce the best, package it as if they were coming from Europe, but the quality remains the same, like the cocoa yam you would buy from Munya market, the huckleberry you buy from Bopi market, and everything is still intact, but the packaging looks like European.
Yes, thank you very much. You see, our food in Africa is healthier than what we buy. That is something that Cameroonians should know. What we cultivate locally and we transform and we package is healthier. It's far healthier. There is no reason why a white man should go to the farm and cultivate food and package and send to you. There's no reason. Okay? There's no reason. Since slave trade was abolished, we stopped working for them. There's no reason why they should go to the farm and send food to us. So let's stop imagining that there's a possibility that those foods could be healthy. It's not. So we have the possibility to transform our own foods. We have the technology. We have the ability. We have the systems in place. And that is what AFROBRAINS is trying to call the attention of Cameroonians, that here we have our natural environment. Let's protect it. How can we protect it? By creating value out of it. And this value is going to be consumed by us. If we do not consume the value that is coming from our environment, it's going to be replaced by something which is not what we want, and by then we are going to be complaining. So it's high time. Our packaging, the reason why we do so much work on our packaging is because we have noticed that, you see, most of the products that are produced in Africa, of course, it's psychology. A lot of people would want to compare it at the level of the packaging without realizing that the content of these products. So we try to meet up with the packaging so that, for familiarity's sake, it's but normal. We try to meet up with the packaging, international standard packaging. Of course, the packaging is not just the decoration, but the packaging is also supposed to be part of the protection of the product and the healthy packaging. Because there are certain packaging that are not healthy. There are certain packaging that are not safe. So we try as much as possible to have standard packaging. When I talk about standard, it's not European standard, it's health standards. So there are some of the standards that go through international borders that are not necessarily health standards. So we were talking about health standards here, and it's the health of Cameroonians. We respect the health of Cameroonians, of Africans. Nobody is going to teach us to take care of ourselves. We should know how to take care of ourselves, and that's the reason why we continue to encourage all our local women's groups. We continue to encourage all our youths to get engaged with AFROBRAINS, to come to AFROBRAINS and look at the role you can play. Where can you fit? Can you fit into cultivation? Can you fit into transformation? Can you fit into distribution? Can you fit into marketing? Wherever you can fit, we're going to look at the possibility to collaborate and work together.
Okay. Good evening, sir. Please, what is AFROBRAINS' brand name for their tomatoes? I love the program. Claudia is writing from Barefoot. I believe what Doctor has said about our processing machines, especially those for chemical tomatoes at our markets, very dead and rusty. Is there a name for your tomatoes?
Yeah, it's just AFROBRAINS. The brand name for all our products is AFROBRAINS. So if you come across any product that's not AFROBRAINS logo, then probably it's not from AFROBRAINS. So we have our AFROBRAINS tomatoes, we have our AFROBRAINS natural, I must state, natural tomatoes, Afrobrains natural pepper, natural cassavas, and natural, all our products are Afrobrains products. So the brand name is Afrobrains Cameroon.
Okay. Good evening. Please, can I know where to get Afrobrains products? For example, tomato paste in Bafoussam. Rejoice is writing from Bafoussam.
Yes, like I indicated before, our numbers for all the branches, because we are all over Cameroon, go to our Facebook page, Afrobrains. You can Afrobrains on Facebook. Just go to Afrobrains on Facebook. You would see our wall. On our wall, you have all the numbers. We have Yaoundé, we have Bafoussam, you have Kumba, you have Boya, Limbe, Douala, and so on. So just go to our Facebook page, and you would see all that information is available there, and even more. You would see a lot more there, which will help you.
Okay. Which methods or criteria do you guys do to guarantee that the raw material is organic? For we do not know how some local farmers use in the productions of their end products. I'm kind of very interested in this topic, and what doctor is doing for organic food is healthy food. And what natural product do you people use to preserve this tomato sauce that can stay for up to 2 years? For we all know perishables foodstuffs are not healthy when kept for long. Okay, yes.
Yeah, that is a professional.
Writing there from South Africa. Yes.
Yeah, that's a professional. Yeah, the person knows exactly what, and that's an excellent question. Thank you so much for that question. And you see, when we talk about our products being natural, it is because we have the way to select our raw materials. We have spectrometric devices. I must say that is one of the things that I'm really good at. I'm really good at fiber optic lasers. So I happen to have produced that as one of the things that I did at my PhD, a spectrometric equipment that can be able to differentiate between genetically modified foods and non-genetically modified foods. It's not found in the market. That equipment is not found in the market. So, but we have it, and we are able to differentiate between those two. And when we do that, we can be able to advise the farmer. And that is the reason why we also work with young people to accumulate natural seeds. So that's what we do progressively, preparing for the next planting season. So we accumulate natural seeds, and when we come across farmers who have started planting GM seeds, we encourage them to work with natural seeds. And the person also spoke about what do we do to our tomatoes to make them tree. That's also a professional question. Yes, there are natural methods. Our parents have been using them several years before we were born. So there are natural plants. There are natural. Let me give a typical example. Very few people know that turmeric is a good substance to use to preserve grains. If you sprinkle turmeric into grains, weevils will never attack those grains. Very few people know that, but people still buy chemicals to poison the grains, and then after that they start struggling to extract the chemicals from the grains. Yes, we have natural methods that we use to preserve the tomatoes and to preserve the pepper so that it can last that long. Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to me, Tata, please help me ask him if he can come out with tomatoes powder and palm oil powder. Right now, writing from Garoua, thanks, as the renewed church Bamenda. How do you get powder from palm oil? Palm oil is palm oil now?
Well, it's just something that you need to work. I think a lot of things are possible because I wouldn't reject it at first sight. It's very possible. When I told people that I was doing cabbage flour, for example, when I told people I was doing cabbage flour, I was doing pumpkin flour. You see, a lot of people are like, "Oh my goodness, how exactly do you do that?" Of course, it's possible. You can do cabbage flour, and keto diet people. There are a lot of people out there who are interested in being able to enjoy the feeling of fufu without feeling the carbohydrates, without consuming the carbohydrates. So cabbage flour from Afrobrains will do you that good. Pumpkin flour from Afrobrains will do you that good. You can enjoy the fufu feeling without necessarily having the carbohydrates inside. So it's possible. I think that it's just a matter of getting to study exactly some of those things. Most of our natural our crops that we have from our farms, we can transform them into several forms that we want. And the good thing about it, is that we don't waste anything. For example, when we transform cassavas, even the peelings of the cassavas, we still use them for feed. So we don't go to the farm, harvest stuff, and then come and waste some and stuff. So we transform everything.
Okay. Good evening, sir. I would like to be a potential investor once again. Please, I would like to have his contact. Okay, the contact is on your screen there. If you are interested, just get to him. Good evening, please. Does Afrobrains have a branch in Douala? Where is it situated? Yes, surely. They are in Douala, Makepe, Misoke. But just call that number on your screen. You're going to be directed to where to get to Afrobrains. In Douala, Makepe, Misoke, or you go to their Facebook page, Afrobrains Cameroon. This one says, good evening, sir. How much do Afrobrains sell their shares? I think you need to call them. This is not something that we'll discuss.
Yeah, of course.
So just call the numbers on your screen. You're going to have the numbers. Oh, yes, what amounts you need to pay. Please, for the location of Afrobrains in Bamenda, do they have processed yam powder in Bamenda?
Yes, we are currently sourcing about 6 tons of yams to transform into flour. So yes, in the next 2 weeks you should have yam flours. We transform. The thing is that when we have a group, when we have any group that produces in large quantity, our objective is to do what? To reduce post-harvest loss. We don't want to go to the market and see people, see rotten food, see people that have wasted a lot of energy and time to cultivate and it's getting wasted. What we do is we go there, we bring the people, and then the problem is that they are individually, that's sitting there beside the road, individually selling these foods. So what we do is that we go there, we have a conversation with them, we bring them together as one group, and then we organize them such that when they cultivate and it's ready, because their crops always get ready at the same time. That's the point. So when the crops get ready at the same time, these crops come and meet at the local markets. So the post-harvest loss is very high. So what we're doing is we're forming groups. When we go to a community and we see that everybody is cultivating the same thing, we encourage them to form a group. And when they form a group, we can have about 1 ton, 2 tons, 3 tons sometimes, and then we can transform.
Good evening, Dr. Tata and everyone in the studio. I want to be more about the sunset. I'm writing from Minduru, Amji Ivo from Betwa.
Yeah, sunflower seeds. Yeah, of course. If you're interested in cultivating sunflower seeds, please do well to contact the number which is there. And then we're going to have a conversation with you, and we're going to work with you to see the possibility. We actually have a branch in Betwa. You check on our Facebook page, you should have the number there. We have a branch in Betwa, so we'll send you to our branch in Betwa to talk with the officer who is there.
Okay. Good evening to the team on board. Kudos to the transformation strides of Afrobrains. How does Afrobrains ensure that the raw materials will be supplied continuously? We're talking about sustainability. Does Doctor consider taking a teaching job at the University of Boya? Carlson is writing from Yaoundé.
Okay, that's very beautiful. When you talk about sustainability of our raw materials, and this is really interesting, because you see, most of the multinational companies that have come to Africa to set up transformation units have failed. Why? Because of the uniproduct formula that they used, and they stumbled into land litigation issues with locals. And they were most of them were kicked out, and their projects all failed. Afrobrains has its own approach. First, we are multi-product. Second, we don't involve directly into cultivation. We work with the local population, so we don't have the potential to get ourselves into land litigation issues, because those that own the land farm the land, and we share in the profits. They sell to us, so we don't have that potential of getting ourselves into land litigation issues. Now, secondly, we are multi-product. What that means is that we transform what is in harvest. For example, we have Cameroon is Africa in miniature, for Christ's sake. We have a wide variety of agricultural crops. So what that means is, at any point in time, there is something to be harvested. All we need to do is to give the sufficient or the necessary encouragement to our women's group, to our youth groups, to do the cultivation, so that these crops, as they mature progressively, we're going to leave from one crop to the other. So when there is a season for harvest of cassavas, We're going to harvest that. When we have plantains, we're going to be transforming that. When we go to the next crop, we're going to be transforming that. So we transform all these things in huge quantities and we stock our shops. It's that easy. So at any point in time, our factory is not going to lie idle. So, and that is where a lot of uniproduct factories have failed, because when it's not harvest season for that product which the factory is transforming, the factory is going to be idle. But that's not the case with multi-product.
Okay. Good evening, doctor. If someone has 10 hectares of plantain in Jumbe, can your company buy, or what can he transform it into? Yeah,
well, 10 hectares is a measurement for land, not the quantity of plantains. So when we see that the quantity of plantains there is reasonable, of course we can dispatch our truck to do business there and then pick it up and come to the factory for transformation. So our interest, as I said, is to see into it that the farmers who spend a lot of money in cultivation should not suffer at the end of the day to look for where to sell the products, because we see that every day. So we're trying as much as possible with the little that we have to see that we avoid, because the more raw materials we have, the more products we're going to have, and it more will be possible for us to employ more young people for the transformation processes.
So you transform plantain to plantain flour?
Plantain flour. Plantain flour is really good. You can use it to bake cake. You can use it to do your puff puff. You can use it as plantain fufu. You can use it to do fufu. For people who don't want to consume a lot of starch or carbohydrates, why not? Plantain is good. And we also do banana flour, because you see banana contains even less carbohydrates. Plantain contains a little more carbohydrates than bananas. And one of the beautiful things sometimes when we produce a blend is that the banana has the sticky, it keeps the thing together. So it's really having the fufu behavior. So it's really nice for those who consuming it.
Hello, Dr. Tata. Is it possible for those processing machines to be exported to Sierra Leone? Jonathan is writing from Sierra Leone.
Yes, of course, of course. If we can be able to produce our food standard machines here, and other countries are exporting, why can Cameroon not export? We can export both the machines and the products, the finished products that we're producing.
Okay, Jonathan, so you can get to Dr. Tata using the numbers on your screen, so that out there in Sierra Leone you could be at 10:02. Mr. Leo, good evening. Please ask the doctor, how long can the processed food in the packages take for it to get bad? I mean, how long is the preservation? He talked about 2 years, right?
Yeah, for the sauces, we have up to 1.5 years for tomato sauce and pepper sauce. But for the flours, we have about 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, for the flours.
Please, Mr. Liu, he has not said anything about tomatoes powder. Is it possible?
Yes.
This is a person writing from Garwa.
Yes, of course it's possible. It's very straightforward. Just dry the tomatoes and create the powder and try to kill the bacteria and make sure it's safe, and you use the right material machines. And tomato powder is very, very possible.
Okay. I'm a holder of BSc in biochemistry and a minor in food biochemistry from University of Yaoundé. How do you people encourage research and quality control? You see, I must say this. You see, most of our students, unfortunately, leave the university with no skills. You see, so when for those, I've met quite a good number of them. They can recite a lot of stuff. They can recite a lot of things. But when you put them into the environment to create value, knowledge. Now, I must say this, I think to the young people out there, the society in which some of us grew up in is not the same society in which you are growing. Your society today is not about how much you know. We are not in a knowledge-based society anymore. The world is no more knowledge-based. Why? Because you have knowledge, you have Google, you have YouTube. Everybody knows those things. So the point now is, what value are you going to create from those things that you know? That is what's going to distinguish you from other people. So if you sit there and you have all that literature in you, and you can recite it, you can write those exams, you can have 18/20. We used to have those things. But the thing is, what can you do with it to create value that can have money, that can bring money, that can bring money into Cameroon, into Africa? What can you do with that knowledge? Everybody has knowledge.
Everybody can go to YouTube, and I must say this, go to YouTube. You will see there's a lot of resources there. You can do a lot of things. People do a lot of videos on how to do things in the kitchen, how to convert honey into powder. Those are nice things that people can do. Imagine if you want to package honey in liquid form, it's more expensive than packaging it in a powder form. Why would somebody not create value out of that?
Okay.
I mean, so those are some of the things. So the young people of today, I'm talking with respect to the student who is writing. The young people of today still believe that we are in a knowledge-based economy and not in a knowledge-based society. A knowledge-based society is about people who have knowledge about something.
PhDs,
but that is faded. Yeah. It's not relevant anymore. It is now we are in a society where you have to produce value out of the knowledge you have. That is how you can be recognized.
Please, I wish to know if there is a center in the Western region that is responsible for the buying of farm products awaiting transformation. I'm saying so because the rate of perishability of products here is very high. Yes, I'm sure they have an office in Bafoussam. Just call the number, please. Under the screen there, Dr. Tata's number is there. Just call them and they'll direct you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I really enjoyed the program. What qualifications do one need to have in order to be trained by Afrobrains? Mr. Kum Leonard writing from Buddha. Good evening to you, Kum Leonard.
You don't need any, I'm sorry, you don't need any qualification. You just need to be passionate. And you need to have your health. You need to be healthy and passionate. You can be trained to do a lot of things at Afrobrains. We like I said before, we've gone past that era of big book qualification titles and all that. It doesn't exist anymore. So if you are interested and you are energetic and you're healthy, please come and meet us. We will give you the possibility to do a training and internship. We have a couple of people at the factory who are doing internship, who are doing training. Some of them, there are training programs that we have published. Go to our Facebook page. You'll see that there are training programs that we have advertised. We unfortunately, I think our dormitory space is even is already full. We actually offering training to some young youths in transformation. So we give them some time to get to know how these things are being transformed, and then we send them to one of our branches. Our idea is, our intention is that as many Cameroonians as possible should get to know about how to transform. We want to take Afrobrains as the step where we're going to start making Cameroonians know that agriculture does not end at harvest. Agriculture ends in the supermarket, when the food that has been harvested is being transformed and is placed on the shelves in the supermarket. That is where agriculture ends. Because in our educational systems, most often than not, we only talk about agriculture and end where the food is harvested. But we don't talk about it being transformed to other forms and put onto the supermarket shelves. So we want to bring in that aspect, that every young Cameroonian, every African should know that agriculture is incomplete until the product is on the shelves.
Okay. Good evening, Doctor. How do you ensure quality control of your products? Yes. Good evening, Mr. Liu. This is really powerful. Dr. Tata is what we all need. I want to ask Doctor if Afrobrains has cocoa powder products now on their list. Chester writing from Boya. Good evening. I'm Bertrand from Bamenda. I love this program. We don't need to go to China. I'm based on fabricating agricultural machines like seed oil, press, fruit juice. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm reading microbiology in the University of Boya. Can I do a free holiday service in your factory in Boya to learn more? Fortune writing from Boya.
Yeah, we don't have a factory in Boya. We have a shop in Boya. Our products are found at Bokwango Junction. If you are in Boya, please, you can go to Bokwango Junction. You'll meet a very nice, welcoming lady there who is selling and marketing the products in Boya.
Yeah, but why not advise the person to endeavor to get to your firm or your structure in Yaoundé? Yes,
in Yaoundé, of course, that's where we have the factory. So the person, of course, can get to Yaoundé, can get in touch with us. We are available in Yaoundé. If you would like to do a training, if you would like to do an internship, you can come over in Yaoundé. Our factory is found at Bankomo, but our office is found at Total Jouvence. So if you get to Total Juvence, you can call any of our numbers on our website, on our Facebook page. Just call any of our numbers, and then we'll show you where. When you're standing at Total Juvence in Yaoundé, you should be seeing Afrobrains right in front of you. But you can call us, and then we'll show you.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please ask Doctor for coconut oil machine. Yes, I'm sure it's possible.
Of course.
He says it's very possible. Mr. Leo, I'm enjoying the program. Please ask Dr. Tata about potatoes. I'm sure it's also...
Which of the potatoes? Sweet potatoes, Irish potatoes?
I don't know. Potatoes? It's just...
Yeah, all of them. Those tubers, we can transform all those tubers into the various flours. But of course, we have to evaluate the economic values that are associated with them. And of course, Irish potatoes are very perishable. So we also can produce that. But what applications do we have of the products? What can we do with the product? So when we see the application, we also look at the content, the nutritional values of these products, because you see, our interest is in creating food that is healthy. So we are looking something like banana flour, plantain flour, cabbage flour, turmeric, garlic flour, ginger flour, all those things. We know that these are health associated products. So we are interested in those products that have applications, that have uses, that are more useful, not to fill the space in the stomach, but to heal the body. To heal the body, this is very important. That's why you see us do things like plantain flour, turmeric, garlic flour, ginger. All these things have health values. So that is what we actually put in a lot of our energy. But of course, we can transform all the rest. We do cassava flour, we do watafufu, we do sweet potato flour, and our sweet potato flour mixed with our soybeans milk is great for children. So if you want to get breakfast for children, that would be a great mixture. Our sweet potato flour mixed with our soybeans, of course, soybeans milk should be great for children. The powder milk should be great for the children.
Should be great for children. Now, when we talk about Afrobrains, you've just been existing for a couple of years today. What would you say has been the impact? How many persons have you impacted? Have you assisted? Have you trained Cameroonians? Have you helped some farmers out of poverty? What has been your net impact in Cameroon? Yeah,
as you indicated, we have just been around for a couple of years, and we are working with several women's groups. And I must say, as progressively, I'm sure people will be watching some of the videos and documentaries as we go ahead progressively. A lot of farmers have confirmed that the initiative is very helpful for them, because you see, sometimes you see this, you can imagine these poor old ladies who spend a lot of energy, physical energy, to do work at the farm, and then they have to go to the market to pay tax to get a space to put their small tomatoes or their small cassavas and all those things. But we have been able to solve that problem for them. So they don't have to do all that. So when they harvest their products, sometimes they don't even have to harvest. Well, once the products have been cultivated, they now have to just put them together in a group, and then we come and pick them up. So they don't have to go to the market. So it's impacted their lives, not just financially, but healthily, because they would have gone into the sun, stay there, and so we're giving them the possibility to stay at home, and then we do the work for them, because we're much younger, we're much stronger. So we're also encouraging young people to get into agriculture. Agriculture these days, they shouldn't look at agriculture as what our great-grandparents were doing. Agriculture is very lucrative these days. Young people are going around thinking that buy and sell from China is what makes more money. No, there is a lot more money in agriculture than buying and selling from China. You would buy things if there is a problem. We just said coronavirus might be coming over again. If something happens and duties climb, what will happen is that the prices of your products will increase. Maybe the customers will not understand the increase in the price of the products, but you have to bear that. So, but your farm is not going to deceive you. The earth will never deceive you. You will plant, you will harvest, and people will get hungry. So you will sell. So agriculture is generally more lucrative than any buy and sell that you can do. Invest the little you have in agriculture. Seek for professional assistance in whatever you want to do, and I think the results will come.
Good evening, Mr. Lu. Please ask Doctor if I can add the soybeans to my baby's food. She's just 8 months.
Yes, of course, of course. Soybeans is very healthy. Soybeans is very healthy. Speak with your nurse, your doctor, and explain that to them. I'm not a medical practitioner. I am an engineer. But because I have dealt with this several times, I can be able to tell you that you can do this from other examples. So, but please speak with your medical doctor, speak with your nurse, and ask them whether you can do that. Because the case of your baby might not be the same as the case of the babies that I've seen with my own eyes. So please do that.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love this program. Please, I wish to know from Dr. Tata if it's possible to preserve vegetables. Huckleberry for some time due to its richness in fiber. Thank you. Kinku is writing from Bamenda.
Yeah, of course, it's possible to preserve huckleberry. There are several ways in which you can be able to preserve them in a healthy way. There are even ways you can preserve them for a longer period fresh. It depends on how long you want to preserve them and the application you want to do with them. Because if the person is indicating to preserve the fiber, why not? You could dry them and you wouldn't destroy the fibers.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Reverend Kaimbi Dennis, writing from Noni. Noni is in Bui Division. I just wish to say I'm very impressed with this program going on. I will have to talk with Dr. Tata later. Thanks. Okay. Doctor's number is on the screen. He will be awaiting your call so that you people talk together. Reverend, good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm called Nuela. I'm for the West. I'm writing from the West region. I'm trying to find out if there is another branch here in Bafoussam. Yes, there is a branch in Bafoussam. You can just call the number on your screen. They're going to direct you. Irish potatoes is available in large quantities if he wants it. Just call the numbers, please, on your screen, and please, you're going to direct them where the Irish potatoes are located. If they need them, they'll get them. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Eno is writing from Limba. I wish to know from Dr. Tata what method is put in place to ensure the products they buy are free of fertilizers. Again, many persons are writing about its quality control.
Yes, when there are several methods. I mean, a lot of farmers, most of the students who go to School of Agriculture in Cameroon, they know how to produce organic fertilizers or compost and the compost and all those things. So it's not rocket science. So a lot of people know how to produce organic fertilizers. If people decide to use chemical fertilizers, it's because they choose to. So we can use other alternatives that are healthy because there is market for that which is healthy. You see, the problem is that when there is market for the wrong thing, people produce the wrong thing. When there is market for the right thing, people produce the right thing. So we are creating a market for the right thing so people can produce the right thing.
Now, how can, we are talking about producing and transforming Cameroonian food. How is the population, Cameroonian population, perceiving the products you are putting at their disposal, and how supportive have they been to consuming what Afrobrains is presenting?
Yes, just like any other market, customers out of curiosity will buy. So a lot of Cameroonians out of curiosity buy Afrobrains products. And some Cameroonians, of course, would come and ask, what more can I do with the products? Like the case of plantain flour. I just indicated that you can bake your cake, you can do your puff puff, you can also do your plantain fufu and stuff like that. So Cameroonians are curious, you know, what are the things? How can we prepare some of these things? Because I want Cameroonians to get this. We have had the culture or the tradition of walking to the market every day to buy fresh food and prepare this thing and share with the family. We are bringing a new form of which we're going to present our foods, because we have realized that always buying food in its fresh form is creating the possibility for us to either get infected, for example, in the case of water fufu, because if you see the way water fufu is presented in its fresh form in the market, you will know that there's a likelihood of it being infected by flies, because when they put it like that, flies go on it. That's why some people say they don't eat watafu because it gives them typhoid and things like that. The typhoid is not because of the cassava. No, when you ferment cassava, it's healthier than cassava that has not been fermented. I said that before. So what this means is that we are looking at a safer way of presenting our foods that is going to, we can save and store it for long. If you have our watafufu flour, for example, you can keep it at home for 4 years. If they say there is lockdown, just get about 20 kilograms or 30 kilograms of watafufu flour. Keep at home if you want to be eating watafufu. If you want to eat corn flour, get about 10 or 40 kilograms of corn flour. Keep at home. If you want to eat plantain flour, if that's what you like, you don't want to eat a lot of carbohydrates, you want to eat plantain flour, oh, come on, get some 10 kilograms. We have them in 1 kilogram, 2 kilograms, 10 kilograms, 20 kilograms, and so on. So you can buy the one that you think you would like to have to keep at home and encourage people to eat healthy. So we are presenting to Cameroonians an option, because usually when you want to tell people that something is not right, that the products that are coming from abroad are not healthy, before you say that, you have to provide to them an alternative. That is why Afrobrains is presenting to Cameroonians this healthier alternative. It is not more expensive. Simply because something is healthy does not mean it must be expensive. That is the thing, that's how we have been made to think. That if we produce organic food or natural food here in Cameroon, it must be more expensive than what is coming from abroad. That's a lie. We can produce, if we work together the farmers team up with those who are into transformation, it's possible for us to even have our products cheaper than what is imported from abroad. There is no logical explanation that somebody can give me that we will take food from the farm behind the yard here and transform in a machine in front here, and it will be more expensive than food that has crossed international borders. It makes no sense. Where is the logic coming from? So there is logical explanation to the fact that our locally transformed food, if we can team up farmers and those into transformation, if we can team up together, there is a logical reason that we have. There is a possibility that we can beat the prices in the market and we can own our Cameroonian market, not just by producing more food, but by also producing healthy food for our people. So remember, Afrobrains is not just about producing more food or fighting hunger, but we are fighting health. We are fighting the dangers associated with the bad food in the market.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. I wish to say I love this program. Greetings to Dr. Tata. Atia is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to you, Atia. Good evening. My name is Ngala Tom. I'm interested to know about the packaging. Are the packages biodegradable? Let me also know if there is transformation of cassava gari.
Yes.
Cassava to gari.
Yes. Yeah, we do have a lot of gari. We do transform into watafufu. We do transform into cassava. You know, we also produce starch, but the quantity of starch we're producing is still accumulating, because I know there are quite a couple of companies in Cameroon that need a lot of starch. So you see, these are opportunities. There's a company that called AFROBRAINS the other day and requested for 20 tons of starch, but we cannot supply. This is a Cameroonian company in Douala that wants to produce gum, the gum that is used to do tables, to do the surface of tables. So these are opportunities. If we had our farmers together in groups, if we have young people who are interested and who come and work with us, we can put our hands together, we can meet up, because we're producing starch. Because when you produce when you're producing gari, when you squeeze gari, when you do your grading and you squeeze the gari, and there's a lot of starch that drains out. When you squeeze the cassavas that is fermented, a little bit of starch too comes out. So when we accumulate this over time, so starch is a byproduct of gari and watafu production. That's just what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Liu, please, to Dr. Tata, is sweet potato flour good for a diabetic patient? Yes or no? And reasons. Kinku is writing from Bamenda. This one says, we also need rice flour. I really love this program. So interesting. And to Dr. Tata, I like the way he is responding to all the questions. Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, sweet potato. Look, every food is okay for a diabetic patient. The matter is the quantity.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can eat everything with control. Remember, the quantity is always the key. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please help me ask Dr. Tata how much a bag of plantain flour is sold. I'm Minette, writing from Yaoundé.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I don't have all those prices off head because we have different, we have 500 grams, we have 1 kilogram, we have 10 kilograms, we have 20 kilograms. So please feel free to call the numbers that you have there or go to our website. We have a shop and we have a store on our website where you can actually place your orders and pay with your mobile money. You pay with your mobile money and then we will deliver to you. Okay. So yeah, so feel free to visit our website.
There's home delivery.
Yes.
Good evening. How does Afrobrains ensure that your rapport with the government will in no way hinder the operational activities? Julius is writing from Boya. That was my last question for you. How much support are you receiving from the government of Cameroon? What is the rapport between what you're doing and the government of Cameroon?
Well, I can say Afrobrains is probably still at its stage where maybe other state officials are still looking at how it's progressing. But of course, not directly, but there are institutions. There are institutions. Just the fact that we have been licensed to operate legally, just the fact that we have been given the space to operate, just the fact that we have been given exoneration and so on. So I believe, but I must state here that just like every agricultural institution in Cameroon, it's still agriculture in Cameroon is still one of the highest taxed ministries, if not ventures in the country. But we are hoping that progressively. But you see, one of the things I don't like I don't like youths to capitalize themselves on this part, on this aspect of things, is that we can still do well even we don't have some of these supports. We can be the ones to rather support the government, because when we start staying aside and saying that we're expecting support from the government, what's going to happen is that we're going to become very lazy. We should be the one. The private sector is having the potential to support the government, not the government looking for borrowing money to give to the private sector. What we need from the government is the enabling environment. What we need from the government are the conditions that we can thrive, that we can progress. We don't need cash. Don't give us money. I don't even need money from the government. What I need from the government is give me the enabling environment. Give me access to the population. Give me access to import some of the things that I might need. Give me access to that. We can make the money. We have the money.
Okay. Good evening to you, Mr. Liu, and my brother in the studio. Congratulations to you. It is time we make use of the natural products that we have here. Ahead, my brother. Need Cosmetics is writing from Bamenda, the best in cosmetic products in Bamenda. Need. We're glad to always read from you. This is the best program on Prime Hour today. I love the program and wish to see it often. Thank you so much, Mr. Liu. Okay, we are glad to be reading from you, but we don't need government assistance. We have all it takes. And as we speak, how can people actually make the best use of Afrobrains today?
We see for people
Is it just by consuming what Afrobrains has put at their disposal? Yeah,
first, people must understand that Afrobrains products are healthy products. And people must understand that the pricing of Afrobrains product is not what they think is going to be expensive. No, the pricing has been made with all the price of the imported products in mind. So our pricing is good. People must understand that they can take advantage of Afrobrains not just by consuming the products, but also by distributing the products in the area where they find themselves. They too can, because you see, food is something that we eat every day. People eat every day. So we always going to want to eat. So people can also cultivate, because the more people cultivate, the lesser we're going to have a cost of raw materials. And of course, the more affordable food is going to become. That's our objective, to reduce the hunger in Cameroon.
Okay, we are running out of time. One last word to those who are watching us. Where can they contact you? Where are the products available?
Yes, thank you once again. The products are available, as I indicated before, at all our branches across Cameroon. We are yet to move out to the north, but we are available In Bamenda, we have Aziri branch. We have Dubai Center, Commercial Avenue. You go to Bafusam, you go to Douala Makepe Musoke, you go to Limbe, you go to Boya, Bokwango Junction, you go to Yaoundé at Total Jouvence, and so on. So call the numbers you have on the screen and get in touch with us. We're going to tell you exactly exactly where you can get our products, how you can partner with us, because you see, I want this thing to really go out very clearly. This is not just for Afrobrains. This is for the Cameroonian society. This is for the Cameroonian community.
Also a word for producers.
Of course, of course. So for all those who are interested in cultivation of our natural products, please do get in contact with us. Those who are producing, get in contact with us. Let us form a team. Let us work together. Let us eradicate not just hunger, but poverty and unemployment, because these are things that we can do by ourselves. We don't need aid from any foreign country. What we need is each other. I believe very strongly, and Afrobrains, those of us at Afrobrains, and of course the Cameroonian population I know, believe very strongly that these are things we can do by ourselves. Let's consume our products. If you consume any of Afrobrains products, you have any issues, please get back to Afrobrains. We must grow together. We must make it work. If there are any complaints, if you think that probably Afrobrains should have done it like this and Afrobrains is doing it like this, please come to us. Let us grow together. Okay. We are not perfect, but we will get there.
Good evening, sir. Please, you said you would love the youths to step up and get to the field with you. I wish to know where to locate you. Just turning in. Harrison is writing from Boya, says where precisely in Bokwango. He says Bokwango Junction.
Bokwango Junction.
Okay.
Yeah. The road that is going to the DO's office. Just at that junction, you'll see on the right Afrobrains store. From
GHS Bokwango, and then the road that is going the other way, the road moving towards CRTV.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So if you're watching us from Boya, you know precisely where to get Afrobrains products. Hello, I'm following the program from Texas, United States of America. Have a question for Doctor. Mr. Doctor, how has your project influenced or helped the youth in your environment? My question needs audience and attention. Please read on screen. Okay. I'm sure you answered that already.
Yeah.
Many persons are working in
we have a lot of youths who are employed at Afrobrains. We have a lot more at different stages. We have youths who are into cultivation. We have youths who are into transformation. We have youths who are into distribution, who are into marketing, who are into sales. And we also have youths who are into the rearing of chickens. Remember, we are not only limited to crops, but we also distribute chickens to young people so that they can rear them. We buy them when they are ready and we transform them, and then we preserve them, I must say, and then we package them and put into the market. So what we're doing is that we want to create the possibility for all our crops to be transformed and preserved, and we can be able to have them at home and use them for a long time, rather than going to the market every day and get products that are perishable and put into the refrigerator and quarrel with your refrigerator because there's light off and do all those things and grumble left and right. So solve yourself all that stress. Just get the products that you can put at home and then relax. Get tomatoes.
What products are we talking about? Get tomatoes, get
pepper sauce,
get
plantain flour, achu flour, watafufu flour, cabbage flour, pumpkin flour, turmeric.
Yes, just get these
all
things
these
and
things.
keep. When
you can keep at home.
You feel like eating achu, you just use the flour.
Exactly.
You feel like as eating watafufu, you get the flour and then you are served.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay. Wow, your program today is really the best. Keep up the good work. Sepen Elvis Mbu, Executive Director at Mbu's Construction and Consultancy out there. We want to say we're glad to have had you on this edition of the program. Dr. Tata Fon, we're glad that you're able to sell this dream to Cameroonians and the population of the world.
Oh, thank you very much. I am rather honored. It is actually an honor to have the opportunity to be of service.
Okay, we also want to thank all of you who took time off to watch this edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime, especially to you, Alain, who is producing the program. Desmond, thank you for also assisting in today's edition of the program, not forgetting you. Abitame Bryant, who is supervising the work we do out there. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.